Hello, everybody. I'm Gareth Lewis. I'm the National Director for Evangelism Explosion here in the United Kingdom, and I'm joined today by Andrew Hughes on the beautiful Isle of Wight. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I met Andrew for the first time last year while my wife and I were down on the island, as she comes from the island. So I took the opportunity whilst there to catch up with Andrew because Andrew has been a long time supporter of Evangelism Explosion. So, Andrew, we met, had a coffee together, and you told me a little bit about yourself and your experience. Just for those listening, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I have recently retired about a year and a half, 2 years ago, having worked for almost 40 years in mental health in the NHS, um, across both children's services, adult services, and latterly older person services. Um, I did the classic EE um, probably about 10 years ago,
Yeah,
and there was a lot of preparation work. And it was the preparation work I struggled with, if I'm being really honest. Um, my 6-year-old son got it before I did. And when we had to learn various things prior to the course, but it was a really good course, very intense, and it sort of for me made it really simple on how to present the gospel. Um, and even on the course itself, there were several. I'm going to call them God incidences where we were able to use the structure that we'd been given in an unplanned manner. On one particular occasion, we'd gone out for a walk with it was one of the instructors and myself had gone out for a lunchtime walk, and we met up with a group of teenagers, um, and it was we got chatting, and they very quickly realised that we weren't local people. Um, he was from Africa, um, and I was obviously didn't have a Liverpudlian accent, as it were. So they asked what we were here for, and within a few minutes, we had almost gone through the that process and the structure of sharing your faith. We had built up a really good relationship, and it literally only took a couple of minutes to have that friendly chat,
yeah,
and we were able to share the gospel. Um, and yeah, it was for me. It was really interesting to see how they were like sponges. All the fears I had around, oh, I'm going to get ridiculed, I'm going to get mocked, going to pick fun on. Um, wasn't the case. It was very much they wanted to know more. Um, and a lot of them actually even then had started making that commitment to
yeah,
to God, and it was really good. And I've kept in touch with some of them since then. So yeah, and that's been really good. I think another example for me was actually on the way home. So we was traveling from just outside Liverpool on the train, coming back to the Isle of Wight, and I was managed to get a seat by the window by myself and started reading through the folder that I was given, just to as like a recap and something to do for the 3.5 hour journey back. And a young lady came in and obviously just sat in the same around the same table, and she asked, "What are you reading?" And yet again, I was able to explain that I'd been on this training course, and yeah, she didn't make a commitment, but she was very interested, and again, it was I was able to go
yeah,
through that process with her. So I found that the classic EE was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, been using it quite regular since.
yeah. Well, thank you, Andrew. That's brilliant. I remember hearing this story of yours of going out with the trainer to have the conversation and ending up with people making a commitment, and that I was really impressed that you've managed to stay in touch since that time with some of these young guys. And so it's obviously impacted your life, Andrew. And so that was then. How about in more recent times? Do you Do you get to use the material every now and again, or how often do you
Yeah,
do it?
I do get to use material. It's probably not in its full entirety in one sitting. It tends to be that I've got various friends, and and it's building it up, and just doing a bit at a time. Um, and sometimes I only get so far through the process, and it's letting God say, okay, it may not be me that finishes the process. It's
Yeah,
that planting the seed, watering the seed, and doing the harvest. It is, I'm just part of that process. Um, Yeah, and so I found that really good. I think as a really good introduction, I wish I'd have done it the other way around. Was the Share Your Faith workshop, which was a 1-day workshop, which for me I see it very much as an introduction into EE itself. Um, and even that is really exciting. Even that I found really exciting. We've run several courses and several sessions, and there's been mixed uptake on it and mixed views about whether the value of it or not. On the whole, it's tended to be really positive. Um, there was an incident actually on this Sunday just gone where the church I go to is quite a small church. It's got about 40 people that attend, a lot of youngsters, and one of the families, the husband is the director for the local Youth for Christ, or one of the directors for the local Youth for Christ, and he's got 4 children. And a word was actually said over one of his daughters about her being an evangelist and sharing her faith. And having spoken to this guy afterwards, he says that he runs a session in her school, and half of her class she's actually got along to this Youth for Christ session,
mm,
and she's got a real heart.
yeah,
And so I said, "Oh, look, I've got got a leaflet, a booklet that if she's wanting to go through, because although she's quite young, she grasps things really quickly." And he was really open for that. He hadn't heard of EE before, and I explained to him the Share Your Faith aspect, and just went through the hand presentation that's used in Share Your Faith. And he said, "Yeah, something like that would be superb." So we're going to give the information to the daughter. Um, I think she'll be able to. I know there's a children's version of it, but having spoken to the dad, like he wants the whole family to have a look at it and see if we can
right,
do some work
right.
as a family. So that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Andrew. Well, to wrap things up, Andrew, if anyone's listening to us, watching us, who hasn't yet been on one of our courses, what would you say to them? Maybe they're a church leader, they may be an attender of a church. What would you say to them?
I think there's a few things I would actually say to them. One, in the actual attending the course itself, while you're on the course and prior to getting to the course, people from EE are going to be praying for you. Um, it's not something done lightly. It is a serious issue. It's Remember that you're not there by yourself, and that when you finish the course, you're not there by yourself. God is going to be with you, and and that's the big thing I found was that you. I haven't been ridiculed or mocked when I've tried to share the gospel, which was one of my biggest fears, that would happen and I would lose friendships. That hasn't happened, and that's been really good.
Yeah,
If anything, it's been a way of actually making friends, building relationships, and that's what for me that's what EE is all about. Yes, you've got the structure, but the most important thing prior to that structure is making friends. You've almost got to earn the right to share the gospel
yeah,
with them. You're asking them the whole time, is, are you happy for me to continue? And if you've built that relationship up, that shouldn't be an issue.
no,
So give it a go. I found it really exciting, and every
yeah.
time I talk about it, I get excited. So yeah,
Well, that is the thing about sharing our faith, isn't it? That as we are sharing with others, giving to others, that we are always encouraged ourselves in our faith, aren't we? And that is part of the reason we should be doing it, that we gain a better understanding of what we have in Christ, and we can have the joy, like you have, of seeing people actually come and make a commitment, or make a significant step in their journey towards God. So, Andrew, thank you for that. We appreciate you taking the time to share with us. And if anybody is on the Isle of Wight, I'm sure Andrew would be more than happy to connect with you about how you could get involved with one of the courses, with the training. If you haven't yet done any of our courses, we would love to have a conversation with you, either if you're an individual Christian or you're a church leader. We'd love to have a conversation with you about how we can help work with you in training you and others in how to share their faith. We have workshops, Share Your Faith workshops, all over the country coming up in the next few months, and maybe we could direct you towards one of those, going over to Northern Ireland soon, the north of England, the west of England, the east of England as well. So we'd love to have you come along with us. And if you are a church leader, we'd love to have that conversation about how we can partner together with you. Just before we finish today, a word from Jesus. He said in Mark 16:15, "Go into all the world and preach the good news to all creation." Just as Andrew has done it, I'd encourage you to be doing that, to share your faith. And he was blessed and surprised by the fact that he didn't get mocked, and actually has made friends through it. And sometimes we have fears that we need to overcome. Jesus will work with us as we go out and obey him and do what he's asked us to do. So come on, let's work together for the kingdom of God and to spread the good news. Thanks for listening to us today. God bless.